Ooh, that really felt like he was talking to me. How intense. Wow. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited because I got something in store for you, which is I'm going to be taking a look at Ren's The Tale of Jenny and Screech trilogy. Now, we're going to do them one by one because I really love, spending some time with each rather than doing it as one big trilogy. And that means that this is the first one. We're starting with Jenny's Tale. Learning more about Ren has been so fun and so interesting, and I'm so glad that I did that reaction to Hi Ren. If you haven't checked that out yet, feel free to do so. I had a great time. It was my first time engaging with anything by him, to be honest. And so, again, I'm going into this video fresh. I haven't seen it yet. And I love engaging with videos like this for the first time. So, if you're new here, my name is Manon. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a writer director, and I love taking a look at videos from like this cinematic, videographic sort of perspective. So, we talk about what actually goes into making these videos and why they work so well in combination with the music. And that's something that I think Ren has been doing really well. People are really impressed with the music, but also the videos. And that's something that I learned is we had this whole debate about whether or not it was a single take on the previous video. And there was some confusion for me because when people talk about single take, I think about the film and shooting it video. However, what I learned is that when people were talking about that, they were basically talking about him recording the music live during the video shoot, which was just like, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think that it was possible because that's not usually how we shoot music videos. So my mind was just blown. He's actually performing the songs or tales, he's more of a bard, I would say, rather than a straight up rapper so I thought that was just shooting a video is already hard. And then you're adding that on top of everything else. Wild. So obviously just really, really impressed with his work. So without further ado, let's get into Jenny's Tale.
It was a quiet, dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before. She wanted to escape. Can you blame? Well, on the very same night, in a different place, there walked this hooded young youth by the name of James. He was 14 years old and out of his brain. He'd been smoking ganja with the boys. James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech. He was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief. At 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul. As Jenny walked home all alone, she felt scared. Usually she was alright, but it was like there was something in the air. A divine intervention telling her to beware, maybe intuition bugging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance at the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Our poor girl Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me all your money, bitch, give it to me. If you cooperate, then you'll soon be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't fucking look at me. I mean it. Bitch, are you listening to me? Jenny frees his statue like a lady shakes.
Ooh, that really felt like he was talking to me. Um, how intense. Wow. We're already 2 minutes in. Usually I pause it after like a minute, but he is such a storyteller. It almost feels rude to interrupt the story, if that makes sense. Like, I want to know where it's headed. Let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing, shall we? So we open on a real close up. Like we're really close on the guitar here, and he's sort of like getting started. And we slowly zoom out because the camera person is walking backwards. And obviously this is the one shot or, long take video where it's just one camera person following him for all of the song. Usually we're used to, quick cuts in music videos or, even movies and TV. They're definitely like there's so few single takes or one takes or however you want to call them, but it's a continuous shot of just him being followed with the camera. There's no cuts so far anyway that I could see. And really nicely done. And I think that's only also possible because he's performing the whole thing in one go, which again is just so unusual. So I'm guessing that Samuel is our videographer. So great job to him. That's really great. And so when he steps back from this wall, we actually hear some of his clothes rustle. So good indicator that, he's actually performing this live. I feel like his outfit is particularly well fitting to the environment with all the graffiti and stuff. He's like equally colorful, so he really blends in well. And I think that's really a nice touch. And just in general, like I love this environment. He's just in an alleyway here performing, his heart out. And he's such an expressive performer as well, like in the voice. And again, he is telling us a story. He is like really leading us, like pulling us in with his story. And it's wonderful. It's so minimalist, which is also quite unusual. It's such an interesting musical style, I think, that he has. And the videos kind of go with that too. So what I do think is that, from a technical perspective, it was probably pretty dark when they shot this. And I think what we're seeing here is actually brighter than what it was in reality. And I noticed that particularly here, where you can see a certain grain on him and on his face. That's an indication of ISO grain, which usually means that, the camera had to bump up the ISO, which is a setting to make it brighter, which you use at night. A downside of that is that your footage becomes more grainy. Not that that's a bad thing necessarily. Some people really even like that look because it's a bit more reminiscent of like old film. It's just an indication that probably they had to brighten this also considerably in editing it. So in the color grading, etc. I also think that, they bumped up some of the saturation because it is so colorful. So it's also fairly warm toned. And so all of these um, cooler lights really stand out, which add like a beautiful sheen here. And I do think that the lighting in this alley is really beautiful anyway. Like it is well lit, but also sort of like it gives it real depth because we have this bright light here, and then we have a really, really dark patch, and then there's another light here from this, I don't know, cargo bay or something. And it looks really beautiful. And so they did a great job selecting this location for this video. And I know that they are a little guerrilla style in how they make their films, or sorry, in how they make their music videos. So very good choice. Anyway, this moment also, I love how what I do think is that even though it was shot in, you know, uh, uh, just in one go, they must have rehearsed it a couple times and found interesting angles for each of these moments in the music because it has such a beautiful progression, not just in his song, but also in how the camera is placed. And obviously, this moment where he's specifically like speaking at us, he is, I feel like Samuel, whom I'm assuming is operating the camera here, actually got down from him a little bit. Like he may have gotten down on a knee or something, but the angle has changed. Like we were looking at him from eye height before, and now we're lower, and he's talking down at us a little bit. So that's one of the reasons why it feels like he is so speaking to us directly. Obviously, he's also pointing at the camera, but also the angle helps with that too. All right, let's continue watching.
You listening to me? Jenny freezes statue like a lady shakes stalactite. Feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing at? You playing games with me? I swear to fucking God, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, girl? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech, reach with the sheath of the blade, with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete. And he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in her breath. It was a quiet dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny lay still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, 'cause she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame.
Oh, that was just lovely. What a great song and great piece of music, great story that he tells. And just can you imagine that that's the alley behind your house, and all of a sudden you got Ren performing like a couple times, just like going through this street back and forth and doing a couple rehearsals and shooting the real thing and then quickly being out of there. That must have been something. Also, I wanted to point out there's a couple moments where they really use their environment to its full potential. They've, as I said, like they've probably walked this alley a couple times, and it all seems like it's very casual, but you can tell a lot of thought went into it, because here we have this face, which is kind of looking creepy, which is adding to the vibe. And then later, he pauses right by this one with the hearts and the girl on the swing. And I felt like that fit the song so well. And so it feels really intentional, and they're really engaging with the environment as much as possible. So really, really beautiful, and just very, I don't know, in tune, you know what I mean? With the environment, not just the song too. You could tell that it's a live performance. I felt so, more so even than with Ren, where here I could hear the rustle in his jacket as well as some noise from the environment. And that to me is just, yeah, many, many kudos to him. And like, wouldn't it be easier to just sing along to the studio version and just perform it while you're shooting rather than recording it live there? To me, it would seem so. Like, it also seems like this would need a whole lot more post-production on the sound. So it's definitely a choice to make it harder than it would strictly need to be, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just really impressed, and I'm really looking forward to looking at the second part to this, which is Screech's Tale, which is gonna be released in a couple days. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll join me for the next one. Give me a subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of the next one going live. I always enjoy the live premieres of these, where I'm also present and we kind of talk about the video as it's going live together. You can also join us on Discord, where you can hang out with me and the other friends of the channel. We have a great time talking about music videos, music. We have a really varied taste. And I'm on Patreon, so if you are enjoying this content, want to get access early to the next one, just saying you can get it over there. It's over there. And yeah, I hope you'll join me for the next one.
Statue like a lady
Peace.
shake stalactite, feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing at? You playing games with me? I swear to fucking God, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, girl? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech, reach with the sheep.